Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles of Great Millstone who are learned the truth of the gospel of Yahawashai from, and peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the house of David, which is the elect, the men, women, and children that are predestined to receive salvation and to be the first fruits of the kingdom of heaven, which is the kingdom of Israel. Got a quick article here from Yahoo News. It says U.S. likely won't see new lockdowns, Biden says. And just listening to it, something that caught my attention, was the fact that with this whole new so-called strand, which they're calling the Delta strand, Delta variant, what you're saying is much more transmissible and deadlier than the other previous variants that they either that has come out. They're now talking about whether or not this variant could cause United States to go back into lockdown. So we're gonna listen to what Biden says about that, because he was tooting the fact that a lot of people have gotten the juice, but the new narrative that has been over the past couple of weeks is the fact that people who are not have not taken the juice, now they're at a high threat or high risk. And what I've been noticing over the past couple weeks, they keep harping in on certain sectors or certain sections of Babylon that it has a heavy population of non-juicers. So when you look at it, in the spirit, because in the beginning they've always been pushing for Israelite to drink the juice, to take the juice, and they were pushing that is the fact that Israelites were the ones that were more likely to contract the virus, and then therefore they're more likely to transmit it. So therefore they should be the ones who really take the juice when it comes out. That has been the mantra all throughout Babylon since the juice was being able to given to the population. So now they can use this as a ploy to say, well, since there's sections of Babylon that people have not taken the juice, we're just going to have to shut down those sections. So it might not be a full lockdown, but Esau can now target specific areas where he can say, well, because people in this area have not really, it's a low percentage of people haven't taken the juice, we got to lock down this area. And those areas could be, don't be surprised if those areas are where Jake resides the most. Okay, so let's like I said, I'm gonna play this clip, and you can hear it for yourself.
I don't think so, because so many people have already been vaccinated. But with the Delta variant, can cause more people to die in areas where people have not been vaccinated. Where people have gotten the 2 shots, the Delta variant is highly unlikely to result in anything other than, the existing vaccines are very effective. So, no, it's not a lockdown, but some areas will be very hurt.
Now you hear that part right there? That last part was the
Anything your wild child does. Pampers
yeah.
Cruisers 360 Fit can too. Pampers Cruisers 360 Fit can too.
Come on. So just bear with me. Satan being Satan right now. Trying to hinder, but not today, Satan.
With a stretchy waistband and adaptive 360 Fit.
So
they can move the way they were born to.
come on.
Pampers Cruisers 360 Fit.
All right, so that last part where he said, but some areas will be very hurt, okay? And he deliberately added that part in. So let's read this. As President Biden doesn't believe the U.S. will see any new lockdowns in the coming months, even as he warned about the new Delta variant of the coronavirus, which is much more transmissible than any other versions of the pathogen. The variant originated in India and took hold in the UK during the course of the spring. Its rapid proliferation, Salakir, proliferation led British Prime Minister Boris Johnson to delay full reopening by a month. That reopening was supposed to take place on June 21st, only to be scuttled by the new viral strand. The Centers of Disease Control and Prevention has deemed Delta a variant of concern. Its prevalence in the United States is rising, leading some to worry that the country could see a return of closures and restrictions, just as society appears to be re-emerging from a 15-month pandemic-induced misery. Speaking on Friday, from the White House, President Biden sought to offer reassurance about a scenario similar to Britain's, vowing that there will be no new lockdowns, which, as the scripture says, you know, never to trust thine enemy. You know, they've said so many different things and went back and forth double-minded, you know, since this whole thing started, you know, because they're you know, trying to push an agenda, okay? You know, we constantly have been talking about that agenda through the spirit of YAHAWASHI, which is that, you know, worship of the image and of the beast, you know, and then ultimately taking that charagma. So it says lockdown measures were lifted in much of the country in May and June of 2020, only to return as the virus spread across southern eastern states like Florida, Texas, and Georgia. Where people have gotten the 2 shots, the Delta variant is highly unlikely to result in anything, the president said in a response to a reporter's question, which followed his remarks on the nation's vaccination effort. 300 million doses of the coronavirus vaccine has been administered, and 44.7% of the American population is fully vaccinated, according to the CDC. It says, but what worries Biden and public health officials are geographical disparities. Okay, you see that? Geographical disparities. Now, once again, we know that Jake is in the hoods, all right, in the inner cities of, you know, Babylon, right? Detroit, Camden, Chicago, you know, certain parts of LA, you know, Louisiana, all right, you know, where Jake is at, in the hoods and in the ghettos. So that what they said was public officials in Biden are so-called worried about geographical disparities as well as demographic ones. All right, demographic ones. Now, once again, geographical goes with what geology or you know, the landmass, and then demographic goes into the type of people. All right. So it says, for one example, 63.5% of Vermont's entire population is vaccinated, but only 33.5% of Louisians have had their coronavirus inoculation. 14 states had vaccinated fewer than 40% of their residents as of Friday morning. Children under 12 are not yet authorized for vaccination in the U.S. You see? So we know in Louisiana, you know, especially you know, in New Orleans and places like that, is a heavy population of Israelites there. So if they're, you know, throwing these numbers out, which, you know, whether or not they're real or fake, it's still can have an implication, and still, you know, they can still use this as a catalyst to lock down specific parts of cities and you know, or should I say states, where basically is Jake, and they can just use that as the excuse of, you know, we can't let this get out. Basically, if you haven't seen that movie, Containment, or not movie, it was a miniseries on I know they put it on Netflix, called Containment, where they you know, locked down Atlanta. All right, and I believe it was a certain part of Atlanta, or it might have been the whole city of Atlanta. You know, you could check that out. It came out back in like 2000 and I want to say either 15 or 16. They could do the same thing here. It says the Delta variant can cause more people to die where people have not been vaccinated, Biden said. That variant is said to be 60% more transmissible than the original coronavirus strand. and partial vaccination does not seem to protect against the Delta variant as thoroughly as it does against other strands. If you have one shot, get the second shot as soon as you can. Biden pleaded. It says, although some coronavirus restrictions remain in place across the country, those are falling away quickly. The states now at the highest risk of the Delta variant because of their low vaccination rates are, for the most part, the ones that were the quickest to cast off such restrictions. Now, if you want to go into, research and find out, what state specifically they're speaking about, you can do so. But like I said, they've always been pushing for Jake to take this juice, and they've been making it seem as though Jake is the one who is most reluctant to take it. So now they can use this as a reason to, do targeted lockdowns, if you will. But, we'll wait and see exactly what, how they try to, manipulate this thing. But we know that the Lord said that is going to become a time where Jake is going to be, in trouble. All right, Jeremiah 30, verse 7. At last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Okay, so Jacob is going to be have a specific trouble that is going to come upon them in these last days. All right, and you already can tell by this whole narrative that they're trying to push with Jake being the face of terrorism, all right, being the face of hate speech, or hate crime, okay, so on and so forth. They're making this false narrative so that they can have the public's backing on the persecution that they're about to bring upon Jake. Okay, so there's another scripture in Daniel, book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 1. It says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. See, we're going to need divine intervention. We're going to need, power from on high to stand up for us. All right, let's go and see what this word stand up means. To stand, to take one stand, and to be standing with attitude, to present oneself, to attend, to be or become servant of. All right, so we're going to need divine divine power to help serve us in these last days, man. Because without YAHAWASHI, we have no ability to stand. All right, I believe it was that the X-Men. I believe there was one called X-Men: The Last Stand. This is our last stand. All right, and we're going to need YAHAWASHI to send his angels, as he has done, throughout our whole history, to stand up for the children of thy people. All right, and he's talking to Daniel. And who is thy people? Who is thy people of Daniel? All right, you go to thy people, it says what? People, nation, kinsmen, kindred, members of one members of one's people, countrymen. So if the angel is telling Daniel this, that great prince Michael, which is one of the archangels, is going to stand for the children of thy people, who is he going to stand for? Who is the people of Daniel? Israel, Yasharallah. It says, and there should be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered. Well, there goes thy people again. That's possessive. Every one of them that shall be found written in the book. All right, now what? That's the Lamb's book of life. That's only who that divine intervention is going to intervene for. All right, it's going to be for the elect. And when we go into Isaiah 66 chapter or 65th chapter, it tells you what? My servants shall eat, but ye shall be thirsty. My servants shall drink, but ye shall be hungry. All right, and then we can see how Edom is lining this all up to basically, once again, set up this false flag attack, just like how Nero did, and pin it on, Israel, and then specifically, starting with the elect All right, the servants of YAHAWASHI, but Esau got it out for all you Israelites, and it's always been that way. And you about to find out exactly how much this devil, is against you and is your adversary. He'll give you, a holiday, but this summer is going to be you're going to be in for it. Okay, I believe at the end of this end of this at the end of this article, he talks about how it's going to be a summer of freedom. Where is it? Yeah, it says Biden has set a goal of having 70% of American adults vaccinated by the 4th of July. The symbolic goal appears to be within grasp, though the pace of vaccination has slowed markedly in recent weeks. And even as he cautioned about the new variant, the president vowed that a, quote, a summer of freedom lies ahead. All right, so you got that peace and safety that Esau is presenting right now, but understand that, as the scripture says, sudden destruction is coming. All right, and it's going to come upon Israel the worst, because you are the Most High's chosen people, and you have heard this word, and it has gone throughout the four corners of the earth, but you have put it to naught. So as he says in the book of Proverbs, now he's going to laugh at your calamity when your fear cometh. Okay, so, I ended there. Call Allah, Yahawah, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim V'chakwadash, to the elect. All right, stay diligent, stay faithful, and keep your trust in the Lord, and stay watching. And to the rest, hey, as Yahawashi said, you are condemned already. Shalom.